Let's now begin with a new aspect of investment decision that we have been discussing so far. I'm sure my screen is visible to you, and on the screen you will find a diagram. Now this diagram we have done earlier on an Excel sheet. Of course, in the Excel sheet maybe the data was somewhat different. However, it doesn't matter because we need to understand the diagram with reference to any data. Okay. Now this particular diagram is showing the relationship between net present value and internal rate of return. On x-axis we are showing the cost of capital, and on y-axis we are showing the net present value. And we know from our previous learning that at a point where NPV is 0, that is the cost of capital which is equal to internal rate of return. And likewise, if we do not discount our cash flows, so we get a net present value where this line, which is, we could call it as a NPV line, is showing us the net present value where the discount rate or cost of capital is 0. Now on this diagram, I have hypothetically taken that this particular IRR in this diagram is falling somewhere between 10% and 11%. As the diagram shows that this NPV line is crossing with x-axis at some point which is between 0.10 and 0.11. So because it is falling between these two, our IRR is somewhere in between. Now that's what we want to understand today as to how do we calculate IRR. We were previously doing in some other session, how do we find out IRR by trial and error method using Excel sheet. But today we are going to compute using a formula. So let us say, like you can see on this sheet, that I have used a value that net present value is 163 if the discount rate is 10%. Now there is the data of cash flows over different years behind this or at the back of this. And likewise, with the same data, if our discount rate is 11%, our net present value is coming out to be minus 216. So from this calculation, we know that somewhere between 10% and 11%, there is a rate where NPV, where net present value will become 0. So we are trying to find out that rate. So if I say it in summary, net present value we find out by discounting the cash flows using a particular discount rate. And internal rate of return we find out the rate at which NPV becomes 0. So we have, using trial and error, we have arrived at these two rates which are very close to each other with a difference of just 1%. And at 10% discount rate, our NPV is positive, and at 11% discount rate, our NPV is negative. And therefore, like we know, as we increase the discount rate, our NPV will decline, but it has declined so much that it has gone in the negative. So we know from this calculation that our IRR, or the rate of return, or that rate at which NPV becomes 0, is somewhere between 10% and 11%. So once we have done this calculation, we use this formula to find out our internal rate of return, where we say, like, we have already got two different discount rates. So these two discount rates, the one which is lower, we call it as lower rate, and the one which is higher, we call it as higher rate, like we are using this terminology on this particular sheet. So once we apply these values, so these values we have already calculated in our previous sheet. So we apply these values using this formula to find out the internal rate of return using the lower rate. So here we know that lower rate is 10% and net present value at lower rate is 163, and we take the model values when we are taking the denominator. So 163 plus 216. So that's how we are taking these two values and we are multiplying it with the difference between lower rate and higher rate. So from this formula, we know that even if the difference is more than 1%, we can apply this formula. But in this example, we have been able to calculate the net present value for two close rates of discount, that is 10% and 11%. Likewise, we can apply this formula using the higher rate. So when we apply this formula using the higher rate, so here it is important that in case of higher rate, everything is positive because the rate is positive as well as the model values are turning out to be positive, and the difference here I have already taken as 1 because we know it is a difference between 11% and 10%. But this net present value at higher rate is coming out to be negative. So this particular value will be negative. So if we use these two different formula, firstly with the lower rate, this is how we do the calculation. And we get 10.43. We start with 10% and we apply the values that we have calculated and we get this. Likewise, we do it with the higher rate. So when we do it with higher rate, this net present value, which is a denominator, net present value, which is at the higher rate, is negative. And therefore, we will be subtracting this second term out of 11%. And so we get 10.43, whether we use the higher rate for calculation or we get 10.43 if we use lower rate for calculation. So we have two different ways of or two different formulations to calculate IRR. One with higher rate and the other with lower rate. So these are the 4 slides that I am using to depict how the calculations of IRR is done. Okay, so this is very important that while you are doing your answers on a sheet of paper and maybe you have the help of calculator available and you do not have an option to show it on Excel, you must know how to calculate it. And that is what we have done in this class. Now, take another example. And in this example, there are two projects where there are two projects. So the net present value of the two projects are given as 1 lakh and 5 lakh. And we know that net present value is present value minus investment. And we have also done the calculation. Now I am not showing you the data at the back of these calculations. We had the data, let us say whatever the data was, and we have done the calculations. So now that we know how to do the calculation or computation on net present value and internal rate of return, I am not showing how you have done it. I am just showing what the results are. And in this case, for project 1, the internal rate of return is 19%, and for project 2, the internal rate of return is 11%. Now, assuming that the cost of capital in the two cases is same as 9%, we know that internal rate of return in both the cases is higher than the cost of capital, and in that sense both the projects are viable. But which project is better, now we find again, an important difficulty, because these two projects are not exactly comparable. Why these two projects are not comparable? Because their investment values are different. Because their investment values are different, it is very difficult to say which project is better, because project 1 involves an outlay or cash outflow of only 2 lakh rupees, while project 2 involves cash outflow of 20 lakh rupees. So we have to find out a method by which we can make it comparable. And that method is what we describe as a kind of ratio, which we mention as profitability index. Right? So this is how we are taking this ratio between, like, there are different ways to take this ratios. This is one of the ways that I am showing you as the ratio. Now this one of the way is present value over investment. Now present value is not shown here, but we can compute, because present value is nothing but net present value plus investment, because we know that we calculate net present value as present value minus investment. Since we calculate net present value as present value minus investment, so we can calculate it back as present value equal to investment plus net present value. So in case of project 1, it comes out to be 3 lakhs, and in case of project 2, it comes out to be 25 lakhs. And so we take a ratio of present value over investment, which is 3 lakhs by 2 lakhs in case of project 1, and 25 lakhs and 20 in case of project 2. And we know that by doing this, the ratio in case of project 1 is 1.5, and ratio in case of project 2 is 1.25. So definitely project 1 is better, but the outlays are different, and therefore the decisions are difficult. Why decision is difficult? Assuming that you have only 2 lakhs, you can invest only in project 1 because you don't have remaining 18 lakhs here. But if you have 20 lakhs, again there is another difficulty, and which is that you are able to invest 2 lakhs, so that is giving you a better returns. But what will you be doing with the remaining 18 lakhs that you have? Because now these remaining 18 lakhs you cannot invest in project 2. And so in that sense, the question becomes, the answer to the question becomes complex, because you need some additional information. So from a comparison point of view, yes, we know project 1 is better because we are able to calculate a ratio which brings some comparative evaluation. But there are other difficulties which creep in because of the two projects not being equivalent. Okay. So now likewise, as I was mentioning a few moments before, that profitability index is a ratio which can be calculated as present value over investment, or it could also be calculated as net present value over investment. So let's say in case of project 1, we were getting this value equal to 1.5, and so in case of this ratio, which is net present value over investment, this will become 0.5. So we will deduct 1 out of the profitability index ratio, which is calculated using present value over investment, and we get net present value over investment, or you calculate it directly. So when you calculate it directly, so you are saying 1 lakh divided by 2 lakhs, or here you're saying 3 lakhs divided by 2 lakhs, or you're saying 1.5 minus 1, so you get 0.5. So these are the different ways that you could calculate profitability